What's up, everybody? Mr. Barnes back again. Going to talk about Section B in your IA. That's Section B. Okay, so I want to make a correction from the last video. In the last video, I told you that you needed to include all of the resorts on your hand-drawn map. I would say that it's probably better to have a general map, more like this, without any of the resorts on it. And then in Section B, so that's Section A, and then in Section B, what I want to see is I want to see a more detailed map with all of the resorts, okay? So that you can explain rather easily which resorts you went to and which resorts your classmates went to, and so on and so forth. So in Section B, you want to start out with a hand-drawn map, and again, that should be, in our case, with the resorts. Okay? Let me just, before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to tell you that this section is 300 words, and it's worth 3 marks total. Okay, so much like Section A, the second section, Methods of Investigation, is going to be 3 marks with 300 words total. And remember, that's again a suggested word limit. So you can go over that, but remember, you have to then take away from any of these other sections. It's not mandatory, but it's just suggested. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of Section B. After you've done your hand-drawn map, you're going to want to start with identifying the time, location, and circumstances. So the date that we went and the time of day. It was Saturday morning that we went out, and the area is the Balayan Bay and the Mabini Peninsula. Okay, how you collected the data, and so that is actually your methods. All right, and if you remember, we had questionnaires. How do you spell questionnaire? Microsoft Word will correct it for me. Questionnaires, we had interviews, we had bipolar surveys, so on and so forth. So in your methods, you're going to have to talk about exactly how we collected the data. Just a short description about how we collected the data. Then, just after that, you're going to want to justify why you collected the data the way that you collected it. So why didn't you use a different type of questionnaire? Why did you use the bipolar? What was the significance of it for getting the data that you wanted to get from the internal assessment, or for the internal assessment rather? Okay, so again, this section is rather simple. It's just pretty much getting it done. Finally, sampling techniques. We used a systematic sampling technique. In all reality, we basically went to every single resort. So we didn't really even need to sample, although it would be nice just to show the moderator that you know what a sampling technique is at all. And so the biggest tip, that's pretty much it for what you need to include. But if you remember, like I said at the beginning of the video, it's only 300 words, and there's a lot of information here to only have 300 words to write it in. One of the best tips that I can give you is to use photos from the IA that we took when we were on site. You can annotate those photos, and if it's 10 words or less, it's not counted in your word count. So for example, if I was looking at this photo here, okay, this is the barangay captain interview, you're going to notice that you could easily just annotate this to show, barangay captains, right? And the moderator would have a very good idea, a very clear idea, even more clear than you could probably write it out, of the way that you got this data. Okay, here are the students. Yep, and that is a very good tip, I think, in order to save your word count, but to get more information in than rather than leaving out that very good information. So again, make sure that you use annotations and photos in order to save yourself some words, and be sure to complete all of these parts to section B. I hope this helps.